Let's see here. All right, we're live. I'm going to click it. Hello and welcome. Happy December 3rd. I hope you are doing well. Today is Fashalamadon Friday, also known as Betting with Big Amo. You can see his beautiful face right there. You can see a lot of his artwork behind you. How are you doing, sir?
I'm really well, my friend. How was Thanksgiving last week? Do you have a good time?
Yeah, ate food, watched football, relaxed. There was nothing not to like about it. Spent it here with my family. It's interesting because, I feel like family gatherings are kind of real stressful in the United States. And we talked to her family and they were stressed out and fighting. My family didn't even get together. So I was like, yeah, I'm glad we stay. I'm glad we're 1,000 miles from them. And we were happy. It was low key. It was not stressful. And I ate way too much food. I took a nap during the Cowboys game. And that was the most watched game since 1990. Isn't that crazy?
Wow,
And all those crazy. People, I'm not watching football anymore. It's political reasons. Blah, 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 blah. Most watched game since 1990. So I don't think that's going anywhere, particularly with betting becoming popular, my friend. Before we get going, I do want to remind everybody with the betting DFS lineups yesterday. I won Super Draft Pro, man. I'm telling you, you only compete against a few thousand people. You make a lineup. It's a lot of fun. As soon as we get it in the UK, I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to have 1,000 subscribers. I know. But until that moment, if you're living in the States and you can't bet legally, this is a legal way for you to bet. $0, $20, $50, $100 subscriptions. You get in the $100, you get 8 free lineups a day. You win cash money. The free one you get 1, the $20 one you get 2, or excuse me, 4. Or wait, 3, and then the $50 one you get sometimes 5, you get sometimes 6, depending on how many sports are going on. Just go hop on it, man. Let's have fun. It's just fun. And honestly, if you work the other way, if you're in a legal state like me, aren't you tired of competing against 100,000 people in your DFS lineups? Let's go compete against 2,000 and have much better odds of winning. All right, Big Amo, let's get down to it, man. Before we get to the show, I just want to say real quick, Taysom Hill is not a quarterback. The Cowboys won 27-17. There were some garbage touchdowns at the end. Those two touchdowns in the fourth quarter wrecked my DFS for a big pot. But Dak 26 for 40, 238, 1 touchdown. Pollard had 7 carries for 71 and a touchdown. He had a 60-yard touchdown. Hopefully you had him in your lineup last night, because if you had any other running back, they did not. Zeke had 45 yards. Let's look at the Saints real quick. Ingram had 28 yards. Ty Montgomery had 21. But Taysom Hill, the quarterback / tight end, had 101 rushing yards, 4 interceptions, 264 yards through the air. It was good, man. I had my same game parlay happening, and dig this, Big Amo. Traquan Smith had 2 catches at halftime. I took the under, and I took the Cowboys money line, and all I needed was 1 catch the entire second half, and it never happened. It never. That's betting, man. If you take it too personally, you feel like these people are just watching your betting lines and making sure you lose. But that's not the case. But anyway, my friend, I just wanted to cover that. There's not a whole lot to say. Dallas won. We told you it was going to be sloppy. We told you in the show yesterday, it's like this might be something good to bet live on, because this game could get really sloppy. There could be some points. There could be an injury. And that's why we're doing live betting. We got something to say about that at the end of the show. But how you feeling for this so far this Sunday, my friend? What are you looking at so far?
Well, we've got a lot of short favourites again. We've got huge handicaps on a lot of games that should be won. So we could go down the route of teasers, or we can try and tease the lines to try and get value that way. It's difficult when you get double-digit spreads, especially this time of the year with injuries all over the place. You don't know how things are going to happen. I mean, we discussed before, there's probably about 6 or 7 out of all the teams of favourites that we think are going to win. But the problem is, as it's shown over the last 2 weeks, that 3 or 4 of them won't win. So money lines, parlays will be busted and everything else. So we've got to try and be as sensible as possibly can. I've cut down my bets this week. I've done a mouse, a single, and we're focusing on mainly the early slates, because, of course, we've got our big announcement a little later on. So I'll start off with my mouse if you want. First game is the Giants versus the Dolphins. Dolphins are playing really well at the moment, especially defensively. Tua is being very accurate and is finding Waddle on a regular basis, which is good. The Giants, obviously, they've lost Danny Dimes quite recently, but their defense shut out last week did very, very well. So I think they match up quite well. The fact that Tua's sort of struggling in the air, Giants are strong in the air, and the Giants sort of will struggle against this Dolphins secondary as well. So I don't think there's going to be that many points because you're going to rely on Gaskin and the running game, and the Dolphins are something like the 30th worst running team, and then you got to rely on Barkley, who is not a miracle man by any stretch. He's a very good player, but he's injured and he's beaten up. So I think under 47.5 is laughing on that. So that's the first part of my 4-part parlay. I also like the Denver Broncos. It's too big. That 10 is too big against the Chiefs. I know Andy Reid is phenomenal. His statistics back everything up. That he's after a bye, he's unbeaten on 60% of his games or whatever it is. But the honest answer, we've been saying this for months and months and months. The Kansas City Chiefs haven't covered a spread twice in some like 18 games. So I'm going to give the Broncos 16.5 points.
There we go. Yeah,
I think that'll be okay. The next one I think is going to be one of the big shootouts of the weekend. That's the Washington football team versus the Raiders. The Washington football teams I think might even win this outright, even though they're the underdogs. The Raiders, we just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, on Thanksgiving they put up a fantastic show, lots of points. But they can score. One of the main things that I've noticed and I've read up about is that the Washington football team tend to give up the most explosive plays to opposing quarterbacks, and that's exactly what Carr wants. So I think Jackson might have a big game again. So there's plenty of chance for points in that game. So over 42.5 is. It's just measly, really. And my last one is going to be Minnesota Vikings to beat the Detroit Lions. I think that everything, you don't need to explain that really. Detroit Lions are probably the second worst team in the league. They play very hard. My only worry would be that the Vikings sort of dip to their level because they like to keep every game to just a 3-point game. So regardless of what it is, we'll just keep on going in. We'll just be the 3 points in between, and then hopefully we might win it at the end.
Yeah, who's ever kicking?
So altogether, it is my mouse, which is my money line, which is the Vikings. My over 42.5 in the Washington versus Raiders. The under 47.5 in the Giants and Dolphins, and Broncos on 16.5 points comes in at plus 233. That's on William Hill at the moment. It'll be around that price for most bookies.
Yeah, there it is right there again for everybody. I know you probably don't understand everything, but he just reviewed it. I like it. It's crazy. The Lions had a better record than the Seahawks, the Saints, and who else? I can't remember who else it was. But they had a better record
with their draw.
Yeah, with that draw. It's kind of interesting. And they took the Lions took Minnesota down to that game, but Minnesota's got to win if they're going to get serious about getting in the playoffs. That's just the bottom line. I love all the stuff. I'm kind of with you. I almost wanted to take Washington on an upset bet because I just feel that game going that way. But yeah, Deshaun Jackson or Edwards, they're probably due for a big play against Washington. They're going to get behind the secondary. Carter's going to chunk it deep. That's what he does. And there could be a big play potential there for you people that bet on longest reception in a game. So that's something to keep in mind too.
Well, with Washington, they're getting players back. So they're getting the tight end back who's been out, who was phenomenal last year, Thomas. He was brilliant. Yep. And they're possibly going to get Curtis Samuel. But then again, we'll see that. I don't think anyone's actually physically seen him for over 9 months. So we'll see on that one. But yeah, so there's good opportunities. And Heineke's playing really well and he's putting up points. So hopefully that'll work. I really like some teasers this week. I mean, let's should we decide on who we should match up with? Because we've got some big spreads. So we'll start off the top of one, which is the Arizona Cardinals versus the Bears. I feel for the Bears. They've lost Roquan Smith, who we put a bet on last week, which was disappointing because he got injured. But they've got no one in defense. No one in defense to pick up. Hicks is still out. Mack's out. I feel for them. So I think even if it's not Kyler Murray playing, which everyone expects him to, I still think that Arizona Cardinals will wipe the floor with the Bears, because even if it's Dalton, he's only got Mooney to throw to, and I think the Cardinals will bring pressure. They'll get through that very porous offensive line, and I think they'll smash them. So I think if we can get them down to 2.5, that's a decent start. What would you say about the Bucs versus Atlanta? It's currently at -10. -10.
I had a listener hit me up and they were like, I'm running Buffalo defense against the Patriots. And I was like, why? I was like, let's go look and let's see who is available. And we found Tampa Bay available as a free agent. And I said, Atlanta has given up the most points twice to defenses already this year. Tampa Bay's in a groove they can't really let up, So they're going to have to be bringing pressure. I expect a complete dominance from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, honestly.
Yes, so they're -10 at the moment, so we could probably get them at -4.5. I think that's... I know they're away, and there's lots of little stats going around that with or without Cordell Patterson, does he actually matter? And he does matter. So every game he's played, the Falcons have scored at least 20 points, which says something for him, because as soon as they lost Ridley due to his mental health issues, he sort of stepped in, and you think that this is a journeyman and he's just taken his chance and he's running with it. I think the Falcons might put points up because that secondary is terrible at the Bucs at the moment with injuries. They're talking about getting the ex-Pro Bowl player again. What's he called? Sherman back again.
Yeah.
So
they had a safety get suspended, right? Antonio Brown and their starting safety, I believe. They faked their COVID cards. Did you hear about that yesterday?
No, I didn't hear about that. I know Antonio Brown's out again. Dude.
Well, he got suspended with the safety because the NFL said, well, we have all the evidence right here that says you lied about your COVID shot, you got a fake card, and they didn't dispute it at all. So it's like a 3 or 4 game suspension also, which Antonio Brown, you never know if he's here or not anyway. But I was just backing up your secondary comment. It's like Winfield or nothing. They have Winfield or that's it. That's all they got. So
then on the other side, Atlanta are probably the worst defensively on all the metrics across the whole board. So you've got, regardless whoever Tampa Bay roll out, they will probably get 30 points. I can't see Atlanta. If we say Atlanta get 20, there's the 10. So let's go in the middle and take the sort of 4.5. Or we could possibly go on the over team total spread, but that's something a little different. So that's another teaser option we can have. There's the other one as well, potentially, is the Vikings against the Lions. I've got a separate bet for that, one that I've cashed in the last 3 weeks. I have bet the first half against the Lions. They don't turn up. If Swift is out, I can't see how they're ever going to score points if Swift is out. So taking the -3.5 Vikings at -110 is, again, it's a steal. I expect the Vikings to at least put some points up in the first half. I'm not really expecting that much from the Lions unless they turn it over. So they're a potential teaser as well. If we get them down to -2, -2.5, then you've got the Colts, who are visiting Houston, who possibly could be the worst team in the league. I know we love Tyrod. We love Tyrod. Unfortunately, the statistics don't. He's the 34th out of 34th quarterback since he's come back. He is horrific. Yeah. He's got no help. He's got Crooks, who does his best, but it doesn't help the fact they've lost their main offensive line tackle this week. They're down to some bare bones, and I can just see DeForest Buckner will just go in there and maul the hell out of them. So their line's currently something like 7.5. Again, we can reduce that down to 2.5. So there's 4 really, really, really good, solid teaser options. Depends however you want to play it.
Yeah, and the Colts, man, they're trying to get that division. The Titans, I think the Titans may lose most of their remaining games on the schedule, to be honest with you. So the Colts really desperately need to make this push for the title, the division title, so they can get a win. or get a home game in the playoffs. I think that's going to be very essential for them. And they know that's within their grasp. I don't think the Colts have played their best football yet, and they've played some pretty good football. They've just blown out. They've had 3 mega blowouts: Titans, Ravens, and one other team. Like, they were up double digits in the fourth quarter and blew it out. So they have that going for them, and they need a win. And it's a divisional game, so it would really help them out. But I like all the teasers you got here. There's nothing not to like. I do like 2 straight options without even teasing as well. I do like Arizona at 7. I just think they're going to crush the Bears. I mean, the Bears, they're like, if the coaches, they already publicly said the coach is out next year, that means most of you guys are out next year, because the new coach is going to come in and going to replace about 65% of that roster. I guarantee it. So I think they're checked out. And then the Dolphins, you've already talked about them, but I just think that they're going to steamroll the Giants. I think they're playing really well. I don't think that they were ever playing bad defense. I just think that their offense was so awful for about a 6-game stretch that it put all the burden on their defense and kind of tilted the statistics. So I expect a complete beatdown. It's going to be in Miami. That matters. That really matters. I don't know how people don't understand that. It's still muggy. It's still humid. It's still nasty in Miami. And in New York, it's cool. It's, the air is crisp. It's nothing like it is in Miami. So I expect this to kind of be a pretty big beatdown, particularly since the NFC East really doesn't go into warm weather places that often. So it's just, weather matters. Once you get into December, it works both ways. And that, if you put just that straight spread bet, I don't know why that was hard for me to say, of Cardinals and Dolphins, it comes out at plus 256. So, that's really good. Put in $10, went over 25 or 35 essentially. So that's not bad at all. And I think it's a very easy 2-leg parlay to hit. I'm trying to bring my parlays down. It seems like every time I get in that 4th leg, 5th leg, sometimes 3rd leg, it just doesn't hit. So we're trying to bring that down. But I see you still got some more bets here, man. Let's talk about those as well, your touchdown scores.
Well, yeah, I think we've been doing really well on our anytime touchdown scorers. We are picking running backs who seem to be doing the jobs quite well, and I've sort of gone that way as well. Taylor is ridiculously short, as you'd expect, against Houston. Maybe get him on 2 touchdowns might be an option. He's going to score this week. I fancy Mixon to score against the Chargers, who is the worst running defense. So he had such a monster game last week, it'd be stupid to ignore him. You picked up Mattison from Vikings. Fantastic odds. What were the odds again for
negative 125? I'm pretty sure. Let me see. Yeah, it's right up there because it's him and then Thielen. So let's see here. It's loading. I'm sorry, my computer is going so slow.
Well, we are officially the Adam Thielen Anytime Touchdown fan club, because he is a Kirk's first option in the red zone. It is where's Thielen. It's not where's JJ, because JJ's already caught the 70 yards to get them there in the first place. It is let's get where's Thielen, where's my mate, let's give it him. And he's at plus 120 at Hills. And if you just tie him up with any of the short ones, like I've done it with Jonathan Taylor, I've got nearly 1.97. So that's 2-1. That feels like it's printing money. So I like that as other potential options as well who might score anytime touchdowns that are liked.
Well, Madison's at negative 165 real quick, and then Adam Thielen's at plus 105 on DK. Still positive odds though. You gotta love it. I like Connor. Just to stick with that game, I think he's at negative 140. I think that's an easy touchdown, even if no matter what the game script, if they go up by a whole lot or if it's a close game, I still think he's got a chance to score.
Is he still leading the league as well in touchdowns?
Unless Taylor took him over with that 5 touchdown performance.
He might have done, but he's. I was just about to say, Connor would be a very good option. I don't think he's come up on mine yet because I think the bookies are scared. I'm not too sure about the Dolphins. I mean, someone will score, but more than likely it'll be their defense, which has pulled them out, and their special teams has been phenomenal with Miami recently. They scored a lot of their points that way. I mean, Scary Terry might be an interesting option at Washington.
Yeah, he let me down last week, but he should be able to bounce back against the secondary. So,
but he's more of a it might happen. We might be better going for the likes of Jacobs in that game instead. Go for the against the Washington sort of front seven, see if they can sneak in from there.
He's great. He's a touchdown monster, man. Well, speaking of that game, guys, I purposely didn't go over the lines this morning because Big Amo and I have something we're going to really talk about doing. If you enjoy watching this show, and this is my most listened to podcast episode, so you people that aren't watching live that are listening on the podcast feed today and tomorrow, Sunday, we're going to go live, man. We're going to go live with some unit betting because let me read these off to you. We have Washington, Las Vegas. We've already told you we like the underdog, so right off the bat, there's some disagreement with the bookies, let's say. But the line is 1.5 points, 49 points on the over, -125 for the Raiders, plus 105 for the Washington football team. We got the Jaguars at the Rams, plus 12.5 for the Jaguars. Good Lord. 48.5 points, or 48 points on the over under. That's weird to have a 12-point spread and only 48 points. -650 on the line for the Rams, plus 460 for the Jags. 4.5 point spread for the Ravens against the Steelers. We got a 44-point over-under, -200 for the Ravens, plus 170 for the Steelers. 49ers at Seahawks, -3.5 for the 49ers at plus 100, though. We got 46.5 points on the spread, or on the over-under. We got -170 for the 49ers, plus 150 for the Seahawks. Go Adrian Peterson. And then, of course, the night game, we got Broncos at Chiefs. It's a 9.5-point spread, 47.5 on the over-under. -410 on the Chiefs, plus 310 on the Broncos. And I told you all that to tell you we're going to go live. We're going to see how this game script goes. We're going to see how, because like what did we say? Last week you could tell last week right away that the Eagles were in trouble, that the Eagles were going to have a lot of difficulty with the Giants if you watch any of that game live, right, Big Amo? And I also said I could turn around. I said, there was so much hype on the Rams last week. If the Super Bowl was this week, the Rams would be in it. That's what I mean. When I was listening to people on the podcast and other people I listened to, that's what they were saying. I was like, what are y'all watching? Like, I didn't understand it. But then you could tell right away. And the Packers came into that game as underdogs at home underdogs. And you could tell within the first two drives that Los Angeles was in trouble. And that's why we're taking this live betting experience on Sunday. So we can get a little bit of feel for the game. You're watching Red Zone. If you're watching just your normal programming, if you're streaming it somehow, we have essentially 4 games in that afternoon slot. And we can really slow down, look at some data, look at the game and be like, okay, next drive. Look, we had an injury. They've been targeting the slot corner. Now they're on their third string slot corner. We know he's about to throw to Justin Jefferson on a deep bomb. Let's get in on it. You know what I'm saying? That was an example for Minnesota, but we have Baltimore, Pittsburgh. Do you really know what's going to happen in that divisional game? I don't know.
That's what I was going to say. It'd be so much easier if we found out how everything's going. Is TJ Watt going to be playing? We don't really know. How is he going to affect that defense? He's a huge cog for that defense because he's going to have to come across the Baltimore. He's going to have to get as much pressure as he possibly can as Lamar. Lamar showed us last week when he started throwing. I don't know what he was throwing. He wasn't throwing balls. That was for last week. But we could have, from there, we could then take advantage of this and possibly get lines. For example, I was going to explain this on Sunday, but for the last, I believe the last 10 seasons between Pittsburgh and Baltimore Ravens, all games have ended up below 3 points. There's never been a blowout. So any point at any time, playing in play, if we can get a +7 on someone, that's we're getting advantage, which we probably wouldn't do. And we're also what we're going to do. We're going to offer this as a service so that people there can then also jump on with us and earn money, because we do a lot of these things called pre-flop. I call it pre-flop because it's a poker terminology. But we do all this work, but we also behind the scenes, me and you make probably a lot more money in play. So I think it's a better getting our experience through that way and help people along as well as enjoying the game. Of course, you get our reactions as well and possibly hear me swear.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more loose with the lips at times during the game. But yeah, it's, you can watch the reaction of us. That's fun. And your reaction. I mean, you can sit there and text us, whatever, be like, all right, we just hit, whatever you want to say. Or I can't believe y'all told me to put my money on that. I hate you guys. Y'all are awful. You can say that too, whatever, But the whole point is, like, to sit there, we're watching these games. There's not like 8 games going on at once. So it's a little more easy to kind of cue in on one. Even if you watch the red zone between commercials and stoppage time, you get quite a bit of the same game. You get quite a bit of the game. And you're right, man. It's intel. And look, these are 3 divisional games: Baltimore, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Seattle, Denver, Kansas City. You just heard Big Amo say that the Baltimore Pittsburgh game hasn't been more than 3.5 points in 10 years. Divisional games have a way of taking what all the experts say, and all the experts are cramming. You know what? You know how much I heard Ezekiel Elliott was going to have a great game this week from experts, people that make large salaries to talk about sports. And they were like, "Oh, Ezekiel Elliott, man, he's going to have the game of his life. They don't have their offensive coordinator. They don't have Mike McCarthy. They're just going to feed him." Well, they did try to feed him the ball, but the results weren't there. So that's just my point. And that's not even a divisional game, but that's kind of a rivalry game. Dallas, New Orleans are kind of the closest NFC teams together as far as distance goes. So the distance-wise, it made a rivalry. But my whole point is, these live games we can capitalize, and we can tell right away, oh, they got a game plan. They got a game plan for defensive to shut down Lamar. They have a game plan to confuse him. Or we can tell right away and be like, San Francisco is about to steamroll. Debo just looks like he's about to truck 12. He just ran over Bobby Wagner. My God. So there's just options to do it. And honestly, it's just a lot of fun. This is honestly what Big Amo and I do a lot throughout the games, is we say, hey, what's the angle here? What are you looking at here? How do you feel about this? And it's just make it more communal. And we will stay away from money. We will be using a unit count and so forth. And you determine what's a good unit count for you. But we have our unit counts, and we'll be talking about that. And hopefully it'll be fun. It's going to be entertaining as well. And I really look forward to doing it. Anything you'd like to say, Big Amo, about this afternoon, or anything else?
No, I'm looking forward to the live betting. There's just so many other markets that you wouldn't normally think that you would probably perceive to do beforehand. So, for example, half betting, or because we can probably take advantage of if we know that another team is got sort of 2 minutes just before the half, and all of a sudden the bookies will, because it's all done on an algorithm, they'll be working out what sorts of points it is, and before you know it, we might be able to get nice spots where we can get plus money for them to score a touchdown or not score a touchdown if we think that the defense will hold it out. So there's other angles and other ways of making money this way, rather than relying heavily on our preconceptions of what's going on. I've also going to do a sort of full pack for me and you, so where people think lines are going to go, what they assume is going to happen, and then as it happens, we can then reanalyze what's going to go on. So it might be a case that the weather plays a massive part. See, I believe the Arizona versus Chicago is supposed to be horrific this weekend. It's not supposed to be very nice weather, which we can sit here and say, oh, yeah, they'll definitely score this amount of points. But if we get anything that we had with Cleveland Browns last year, when that win game was horrific, we could be in play. We could be better than the unders, and we can just see the total ticking down from 40 to 20, and that might shift in a quarter because of the weather. But we would already been on it because we've already assessed the situation. So I think it's another way of earning some money, hopefully.
Yeah, I've already got a couple. Well, I'll save it for Sunday. What I like to do, I like to see who wins the coin toss. I like it the first 2 plays, and if I feel like there's a punt coming, I make my decision on what's about to happen after that. But yeah, man, it's been a great show. We got more angles. Like I said, make sure you tune in Sunday. And he just said Chicago was going to be bad weather. Kansas City at 7:15 at night. That's cold, man. That's a cold place. So that could affect it too. Patrick Mahomes has an arm that just cuts through the cold. Teddy Bridgewater may not, though. So let's keep an eye on their wide receivers, because let's be honest, Judy's hot, Sutton's hot, Patrick's been hot, Fant's been hot, and there's talks that Melvin Gordon may not play, which has the whole community in an uproar about Javonte Williams, because all these dynasty people that bought him, they're just so ready for him. And I'm just like, well, this might be y'all's game, man. But Kansas City's playing good defense. We'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. But that's why we're live betting, guys. That's why we're talking about live betting.
One last thing, also, we're quite lucky this week, the fact that we've got Seattle in our live area, because let's be honest, Russ isn't right. They've rushed him back. He's busted his hand. They said originally it was going to be 8 weeks. Well, this is the 8th week, so he might actually be better than. Well, let's just say he's not superhero Russ. He's just Russ, which means that he's a competent quarterback rather than what we've seen prior. So within this game, he could change this completely, because everyone seems to be everyone's on the 49ers because they don't believe that Russell can throw the ball, and their defense is terrible, which is understandable. But the 49ers have lost Debo this week, who was probably 80% of their yardage anyway. So there is more avenues for us to do it and options for people to hopefully win some money.
Yeah, people have been talking about Brandon Ayuk to talk about people that have been in the media. He's been really hyped up a lot. I think it's DK Metcalf time. The 49ers secondary is not that great outside of Jimmy, not Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy Ward. And DK, they're going to have to pass him the ball or else they're going to have a upset diva on their hand, he's going to have to make – I almost be willing to bet in the first drive they throw a pass directly at DK Metcalf, and it just gets going from there. But let's watch it live, and let's see, and let's find out.
That could be sneaky overs. Sneaky overs it could be as well, because if all of a sudden Russ is cooking again, balls are flying everywhere. Sneaky overs, we'll get on that early doors and sit back and watch it.
Yeah, I agree. Adrian Peterson show. I may have to get on an AP touchdown. We'll see, man. Real quick, man, who's your MVP to close out the show? Who's your MVP 3/4 of the way through? Oh, man, we got to do the 6-week report card. I completely forgot. Oh, man, I got to do that. We'll extend it to week 13. We'll just get an extra week in there. But yeah, we're through the second trimester of the season. Who's your MVP after 2 trimesters, man?
I mean, you can choose a different one every week, and everyone who the media picks has sort of shot himself in the foot the week after. So I don't want to jinx anybody this week unless it's someone I've got lots of money on. Let's have a see. I think it's Goff. Jared Goff is my MVP.
There we go, man. I know that when you put it in the air, it feels like it can get twisted. I think it's kind of like a three-horse race. I was sold on Derrick Henry. I was like, this is his year. Nobody's going to catch him. Boom, he got hurt. All of a sudden, Jonathan Taylor, he looks like the best running back in the league quite easily, honestly, in my opinion. So I think it's between JT, probably Tom Brady, and that's why I think when you tease down that spread, like records matter to Tom Brady. I don't care what anybody says. He likes winning, but he likes records too. Like that's all that's important to him. And he's got a chance, and then it's Aaron Rodgers. But the media really hates Aaron Rodgers right now, so I'm not sure that he'll get it. But
I think most people hate him.
Yeah, I mean, I love him. He's my quarterback still.
I know he's your quarterback. I wouldn't discount Kyler Murray because he's sort of gone off the ball because he's been injured and we haven't seen him for 3 weeks. But when he's going, and if they win that division, which they possibly can do, that all of a sudden it's a shining light, isn't he? So yeah, there's lots of options. But one thing I do want to say, I think we've missed the boat on Micah Parsons. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
Was he plus 300 for defensive rookie of the year? He was phenomenal again last night. He is a genuine
negative 700 right now, or negative 800 right now. It's the odds are.
That's a huge shame because but he is excelled and so he should win that comfortably. And well done to him.
Real quick, Randy Gregory's supposed to come back, so he might be moving back to inside linebacker, which I might think is a mistake. I don't know. I might keep him on the edge, But all right, my friend, we're going to get out of here, guys. Be lucky this weekend. Be smart. Don't bet your house. Bet responsibly. Have fun. Do some live betting with us. All right? Take care.